I never thought I'd be in this position at 32, filing for divorce after what I believed was a rock-solid marriage of 4 years. My wife, who's 25, came into my life 7 years ago, and everything seemed perfect until recently. We had the kind of relationship others envied, frequent date nights, a great connection, and minimal arguments that we'd resolve within hours. When people asked me about my marriage, I'd always say I found my soulmate. We shared everything, our phones, our lives, our dreams. There wasn't a single secret between us, or so I thought. The changes began when my wife joined a recreational basketball league in September. She used to play in college and wanted to get back into it. The practices were scheduled twice a week, 3 hours each time at the community center. I supported her completely. After all, she'd always encouraged my interests in photography and hiking. Why wouldn't I do the same for her? The first red flag appeared when she started being protective of her phone. One evening, she forgot to take it to the shower, something unusual for her lately. I knew I shouldn't, but I checked it. The messages I found between her and a teammate made my stomach turn. When I confronted her about it, she quickly grabbed the phone and deleted everything. Through tears, she claimed it was harmless, just a few walks and conversations over coffee. She admitted he tried to kiss her once, but she said she pushed him away. My wife begged for forgiveness, swearing nothing else happened. Like a fool, I believed her. After that, I became the husband I never wanted to be, constantly checking her location, asking where she was, who she was with. Her Google timeline showed regular 15-minute stops at a strip mall after work. Something wasn't adding up, especially when she started being late for our dinner plans. I did what any suspicious spouse would do. I followed her one day. There she was, in his car in the strip mall parking lot. When she spotted me, she jumped out like she'd been electrocuted. Her excuse? She was meeting him to end things face to face. It made no sense. Why not just send a text or make a call? I called a guy right there. Turns out this wannabe athlete, still living in his parents' basement, had been meeting my wife regularly. They claimed these meetings were just to talk, but my gut told me otherwise. She kept insisting it meant nothing, but her actions spoke louder than words. She was still attending basketball practice, still seeing him multiple times a week. When I finally pushed hard enough, the truth came out. They'd been having sex in his car at that strip mall almost daily. That was my breaking point. The lies, the deceit, the disrespect, it was too much. When I mentioned divorce, she seemed shocked, like she never expected me to actually leave. The tears started flowing, but this time they had no effect on me. She had to face the consequences of her actions. She moved out and started staying in different Airbnbs. Being a substitute teacher, her income barely covered these temporary arrangements. Her basketball friend, the unemployed charmer, couldn't even offer her a place to stay. His parents wouldn't allow it. Most of her belongings are still at our house. Every time she comes to collect something, she tries to convince me there's no life without me, that we can work things out. Months ago, that might have worked. Now, I just stay neutral and show no reaction. It drives her crazy, and honestly, that feels like a small victory. I've filled my time with new activities since the separation. Started taking evening classes in business management, joined a hiking group, and reconnected with old friends. My buddy Mike has been especially supportive, inviting me to weekend camping trips that help clear my mind. The divorce proceedings are moving forward, but there's still the matter of splitting our assets. Our shared house has become a point of tension. She wants to keep it, claiming she has nowhere else to go, but her teacher's salary won't cover the mortgage. I've offered to buy her out, but she refuses to discuss it reasonably. Last week, I found out through mutual friends that her basketball friend had started seeing someone else. Apparently, he told everyone that my wife was too much drama. Now she's really struggling, bouncing between Airbnbs and friends' couches, missing work occasionally, and still trying to convince me to take her back. Her family called me yesterday. They wanted to know if I'd reconsider, saying she's learned her lesson. They don't seem to understand that this isn't about punishment. It's about trust that can never be rebuilt. Her mother even suggested that since we're both still young, we could start fresh. I had to explain that starting fresh doesn't erase memories of finding your wife in another man's car. The basketball league drama continues too. She quit the team finally, but not before telling everyone I was controlling and jealous. Some of her teammates' partners have reached out to me, sharing similar stories about this guy's pattern of pursuing married women in the league. Turns out my wife wasn't his first affair partner, just his latest. During her last visit to pick up more clothes, she broke down completely. Said she'd ruined her life for someone who never cared about her. Part of me felt sorry for her, but then I remembered all the lies. How she'd come home from those parking lot meetings, kiss me hello, act like everything was normal. The thought still makes me sick. I'm selling our wedding photos and other memories online. My therapist says it's healthy to let go of physical reminders. The wedding ring is next. Might use the money for a solo trip I've been planning. There's this hiking trail in Colorado I've always wanted to explore. My wife's desperation is growing as her housing situation becomes more unstable. She's asked to move back into the spare room just until she finds a place. I refused. Her choices led her here, sleeping in her car some nights, borrowing money from friends, missing her basketball games because she can't face her former teammate. The hardest part isn't the loneliness or the gossip from people who don't know the whole story. It's accepting that the person I trusted most turned out to be someone I never really knew. When I look at old photos now, I wonder if she was already thinking about betraying me even then. Was anything real? At least I've stopped checking her location or driving by the strip mall. Those habits were eating me alive. Now I focus on my own path forward. The business classes are going well, and I'm considering a career change. My instructor says I have a knack for marketing. Maybe this whole mess is pushing me towards something better. 3 months into the divorce process, things have shifted dramatically. My wife lost her substitute teaching position due to frequent absences. She's working at a coffee shop now, making even less than before. Her basketball friend blocked her number after she kept showing up at his parent house. I've stopped responding to her emotional texts. The last one read, "I threw away everything for nothing." She's right, but that's not my burden to carry. My lawyer says we're close to finalizing everything. The house will be sold, assets split, and we can both move on. The healing started when I accepted that our perfect marriage wasn't so perfect. Maybe I was too busy being the supportive husband to notice the cracks. Or maybe some people just change, and no amount of date nights or romantic gestures can prevent that. My business classes have opened new doors. A classmate offered me a position at his marketing firm. The salary is better than my current job, and it's in a different city. Fresh start, new surroundings, exactly what I need. Last weekend, while packing for the move, I found our old photo albums. Instead of feeling sad, I felt relieved. Those memories belong to someone else now, someone I used to be. I donated the albums to a thrift store, along with most of our shared belongings. My wife's sister told me she's moving back to their hometown 6 hours away. Their parents finally convinced her to come home and rebuild her life. It's better this way, no chance of awkward run-ins at the grocery store or local coffee shops. The basketball league drama faded once people found new gossip. Some of her former teammates still send me supportive messages, but I rarely respond. That chapter of my life is closing, and I'm okay with it. Yesterday, I signed the final divorce papers. No tears, no second thoughts. Just the quiet satisfaction of knowing I'm choosing myself. The judge set our court date for next month, but it's just a formality now. Looking back, I still can't pinpoint exactly where things went wrong. Maybe there wasn't a single moment. Maybe it was a series of small choices that led us here. Either way, I'm done searching for answers. My new apartment lease starts next week. It's closer to the marketing firm and has a great view of the city. I've already joined a local hiking group and signed up for photography classes. Life moves forward, whether you're ready or not. As for my ex, I heard she's taking teaching certification courses in her hometown. Good for her. I genuinely hope she figures things out just far away from me. Her choices cost her everything, her marriage, her job, her dignity. But that's not my story anymore. I'm writing a new one, and this time, I'm the only author. I still believe in love, surprisingly. Just not the fairy tale version I used to chase. Real love includes respect, honesty, and hard choices. Sometimes the hardest choice is walking away. But as I pack the last box and look around my empty house, I know it was the right one. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.